Here, stop that down there, will you? Stop that. Cut it out over there, yeah. Oh, they're a dirty lot, they really are. What a lot of flocks they are I've got here.
When the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, I want to be amongst that number. Good afternoon.
Hello.
I believe you are Mr. Arthur Shepherd.
Yeah, that's correct. Shepherd by name, shepherd by nature. Lo, my flock are lowing.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. That's rather good. I like that. Yeah, it's very good indeed. Hello, hello. Yeah. Never thought of that one.
No, it's a bit tricky, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good.
Can I introduce myself? My name is Matthew. You may have heard of me and my colleagues, Mark, Luke and John.
Oh, yeah, I know you lot, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are doing an in-depth profile of Jesus, or the Messiah, as you may know him.
Yeah, I know him as Jesus.
Oh, that's right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What paper do you work on?
The Bethlehem Star.
Oh, the Bethlehem Star.
Yeah.
The wife and I take that, actually.
Oh, really?
Don't think much of your racing correspondent. I had 3 shekels on that camel in the 3:15 at Galilee. It's still bloody running.
I think one of his humps had been nobbled.
Yeah, or something wrong. Perhaps it doesn't like soft sand. I don't know. But, you know, 3 shekels down the drain. You know, it's a lot for a working shepherd.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, Arthur. I don't actually work on the betting side of the paper, the sporting side. I work on the more serious side, reportage.
Oh, reportage. That's very different, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, Arthur...
Excuse me, if I take this off, I can hear better. Thank you.
Good idea, son.
Yeah.
I believe you were in on the very first moments surrounding the birth of the Holy Child.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if you could possibly tell me what happened in your own words.
In my own words?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, what happened, Matthew, was that me and the lads were abiding in the fields.
Abiding in the fields, yes.
Yeah, mind you, I can't abide these fields, you know. Well, they are unabidable fields. I mean, look around you. They are unabidable. These are about the most unabidable fields I've ever had to abide in.
Yes, I must abide by that, I think.
Yeah. But we were... It's not so funny when you have to abide in them.
No, agreed.
We were abiding in the fields,
yeah,
watching our flocks by night.
Watching our flocks by night, yes.
Because that's when you have to watch them at night, because that's when they get up to all their rubbish, you know.
Yeah.
Hot summer nights, the rams go mad, you know. Especially that one over there, he's a dirty little bugger. Stop it! Cut it out! Doing it in broad daylight in front of you. A holy man. Oh, dear. Stop that!
Well, it's only human, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose you're right there. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly an enthusiast, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a little go, that one.
Yeah. Oh, those were the days. Anyway, you were abiding in the fields, watching your flocks by night.
That's right.
And then what happened?
Well, much to our surprise, the angel of the Lord come down.
Oh, that must have been a fantastic experience.
Well, it made a bit of a break, you know. A bit of a change from just abiding in the fields, like.
How did you know it was the angel of the Lord?
Well, I'll tell you what the giveaway was, Matthew. It was the ethereal glow that he was emanating. He was emanating this ethereal glow.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw him emanating this ethereal glow, I said, hello, that's angel of the Lord there.
Yeah. Halo?
Halo, certainly. Halo and goodbye, we said afterwards. You know, he wasn't there for long. As soon as he gave his little message, he was off like a bat out of hell. Straight up in the sky, he went and vanished, the clouds parted, and that's the last I saw of him.
Yeah. Wings?
Oh, lovely pair of wings, Matthew.
Yeah.
All gossamer, shimmering in the starlight.
Yeah.
It was a lovely sight.
Must have been a wonderful
sight, yeah.
What did he say to you, Arthur?
Well, he sort of, he picked me out, like, from the other lads.
Yeah.
And he said, unto ye a child is born.
Right.
Unto ye a son is given.
Yeah. What was your reaction?
Total shock. You know, I wasn't even married at the time. I thought to myself, you know, blimey, what was I doing this time last year, you know? Could it be that little bird I met down the Shepherd's Delight?
Yeah.
You know, often lit down there for a pint of goat's foam, you know?
Yeah.
But then, do you know the Shepherd's Delight?
Yeah, lovely place.
Lovely place,
Often drop in there myself.
Yeah. Well, the angel of the Lord, gentleman that he is, went on to explain it. When he said ye, he didn't mean me personal like. He meant ye in the sense of the whole world. Under the whole world a child is born.
Yes.
Under the whole world a son is given.
He was using the universal ye.
That is what he was using, the universal ye, yeah.
Yeah.
Then he went on to say,
Yeah.
ye shall find the child.
Yes.
This time he was using the personal ye,
Yeah.
because the whole world wasn't there, you know.
Right,
Just
yeah.
me and the lads.
Yeah.
To be perfectly frank and strictly off the record, Matthew, I think he is getting a bit muddled up with his ye's.
Well, mind you, I suppose you get a bit muddled up with your yous.
That's a good point, yeah. So's that bloody ram over there. Will you cut that out?
I don't think he gets muddled up at all. He knows exactly where he's going, I think.
Yeah, you're right there, yeah.
No, anyway.
He said, ye,
Yeah.
the personal ye,
Yeah.
ye shall find the child
Yeah.
lying in a manger,
Yes.
all meanly wrapped in swaddling clothes.
Yes. All meanly wrapped in swaddling
Swaddling
clothes. Now, I suppose your first reaction was to whip over there and have a peep, eh?
Yeah, it certainly was, but
Yeah.
when I got to the stable, Matthew, I was in for a bit of a shock.
Oh.
Because when he said, ye shall find the child all meanly wrapped in swaddling clothes, I thought, you know, fair enough, he'll be fairly meanly wrapped, you
Right,
know.
yeah.
Nothing flash, nothing gaudy.
Right.
But when I arrived, it was abominable. It was the meanest bit of wrapping I've ever seen.
Really?
And what's more, the kid was barely swaddled. I would say it's the worst job of swaddling and wrapping I have ever seen in my life.
You would say a very hasty job of wrapping and swaddling had been inflicted on the child.
You may quote me on that, Matthew.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very hasty indeed.
Yeah. Now, Arthur, think back and tell me, what was the atmosphere like in the stable on this tense, historic night?
The atmosphere in the stable, Matthew, was very, very smelly. All these cows and goats and sheep about, and they weren't being careful about, it being a special occasion or anything. It was just like normal.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting sideline.
You can understand that.
Well, now, was the Holy Ghost there?
Hard to say. He's an elusive creature, the Holy Ghost,
Yeah.
isn't he? Flits in and out of windows, you can scarcely see him.
Yeah.
Mind you, I think he ought to have been there, in his capacity as kind of, godfather.
Yeah.
But I couldn't say I saw him, because
No.
I didn't say. I couldn't see him.
No. I suppose even if he wasn't there, he was probably there in spirit. No.
Yeah, certainly.
Anyway, I gather that later on in the evening, the three wise men came by. Is that so?
3 wise men arrived, three bloody idiots if ever I saw them. In they come bearing gifts of gold, frankincense and myrrh.
Oh, yeah?
Well, gold, fair enough, a little nugget of gold always comes in handy, doesn't it? Yeah,
sure,
always doing a bit of gold.
Oh, yeah.
But what is a little kid going to do with frankincense and myrrh? I ask you.
Yeah,
I mean, myrrh's the stuff what puffs put behind their ear, isn't it? But Jesus, give him all credit, he was so polite about it.
Yeah.
He sat up in the manger, adjusted his swaddling and said, thank you, gentlemen, for the lovely prezzies. I hope you have a nice trip back, Delightful little kid, he really was.
What a laugh. What a little
Delightful.
laugh. Yeah. Very precocious, of course.
Well, speaking half an hour old, it's pretty good going.
Mind you, not long after that, he was confounding the elders,
Was he confounding the elders?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they can't stand that, the elders being confounded, can they?
It's the one thing they can't stand is being
Being confounded, yeah.
He was confounding them left, right and centre, with his tremendous knowledge. He had this fantastic knowledge of algebra, trigonometry, philosophy, billiards, tap dancing.
Tap dancing and music?
Oh, yeah. Wonderful musician, Jesus. Wonderful musician. As a matter of fact, Mark was able to trace down his old music master and have a word with him.
Christ J was one of the outstanding boy sopranos of his day. Had an enormous range, went from to... And I was only sorry to see him leave the choir at the age of 13. I never saw him again.
He never saw him again.
I never saw him again.
He never saw him.
I never saw him again.
He never saw him.
I never saw him.
He never saw him.
I never saw him again.
He never saw him again.
Oh, I'm interested about that musical side of Jesus. I've never heard about that. I always thought that carpentry was his main line of business,
Yes, well, it was. As a matter of fact, I talked to somebody who had an example of his work.
Really?
Hello. Yes, actually, he was round here the other day to do a bit of carpentry for me. Submitted a very reasonable estimate, far cheaper than all the other carpenters in Nazareth, I must say. 2 shekels for a chair, which is pretty good going in Nazareth these days at current prices. And it's a simple, rustic garden chair, nothing spectacular or anything like that, but sturdy, well made, and I'm very happy with it indeed. Oh, Lord, it'll take a bloody miracle to get this lot together.
That was the marvellous thing about Jesus' carpentry. He had a sort of built-in guarantee.
Yeah, but it wasn't much of a chair to start with, was it?
Oh, no. Well, no, Jesus, as a conventional carpenter, wasn't much cop. It was his little brother, Jimmy Christ, who did all the joinery.
We had a brother?
Yeah, little Jimmy Christ.
Jimmy Christ? I never heard of Jimmy Christ.
You never heard of Jimmy Christ?
Never heard of Jesus, yes, but I never heard of Jimmy Christ.
Oh,
no.
lovely boy, Jimmy Christ. Yeah, lovely. Very shy, you know, he shunned publicity.
Yeah.
In fact, he used to say to Jesus, he said, you save the world, I'll take care of the built-in cupboards.
Oh, it's a fair division of labour, I suppose,
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah, he knew his place. You know. Yeah.
Never heard of it. Jimmy the Joiner.
Yeah, that's it.
Never ever heard of him.
Yeah.
Well, about Jesus, getting back to Jesus,
Yeah.
he never got married, did he?
Well, he had a very nice landlady, a certain Mrs. McMire. Really nice old girl,
Yeah.
Mrs. McMire. And Mark was able to trace her down and have an interview with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mrs. McMire, I understand that you actually knew Jesus.
Yes, thank you, and hello. Mr. Jesus was in residence at Dead Sea View for many happy years. He was a model lodger, you know, very well behaved. He didn't have girls in his room or anything smutty like that.
I believe also that you did the cooking for him.
Oh, yes. I used to do him a packed lunch every day. Mostly low-calorie stuff, you know, unleavened bread, goat's cheese, and that sort of thing. Because he used to like to keep himself in trim. He used to say to me, Mrs. McMahon, if I'm going to save the world, I've got to keep myself in trim, not go to seed like that great fat Buddha.
Any problems at all with his health?
His health? No, not at all. No, he's a very healthy man. I do remember one time, however, he came back from an afternoon out with his feet absolutely sopping wet. I said, Mr. Jesus, where on earth have you been? He said, Mrs. McMahon, I've been walking on the water. Jesus, you're playing with fire walking on the water. And sure enough, you got a sniffle.
A slight sniffle. Now tell me, Mrs. McMire, is there anything else you remember about this remarkable man?
Well, I could go on for an eternity, of course, but I don't suppose you'd be interested in that. No, I do remember, however, one amusing episode. One afternoon, Mr. Jesus came to me and said, Mrs. McMahon, he always used to address me like that, Mrs. McMahon, I've got 5,000 people coming for a picnic lunch today. Provide me with some food. I said, Mr. Jesus, I said, 5,000 people for lunch. I said, this is bed and board for one. He said, well, look, do me a favour, would you? I said, well, look, I've only got 5 loaves and 2 fishes in the house. He said to me, and you could have knocked me down with a feather, that is ample sufficiency. Well, off he went with the 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Came back a few hours later with 12 basketfuls of leftovers. All I can say is he was a very delicate carver.
She seemed like a very nice lady, that Mrs. McMire.
Oh, lovely old girl, Mrs. McMire, yeah.
I did hear a rumour that Jesus travelled abroad. Didn't he go to England or some strange place like that?
Yeah, well, I heard he went to England, and in fact, I went over there to check up.
Oh.
Excuse me, Enoch.
Yes?
Dip those feet in ancient times, walk upon England's mountains green, and was the early Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures a seen.
Actually, no. He did come over here, but we had a rather severe unemployment problem amongst our own savers at the time, and we were really looking for sort of road builder types, so I had to send him on his way back. It was nothing to do with the fact that he had this rather long hair and was Jewish.
Oh, well, thank you very much for your cooperation. Oh, blimey, look at the time. Oh. Here, could you tell me the quickest road back to Galilee?
As far as I'm concerned, all roads lead to Rome.
What?
Tickle your ass with the feather.
Pardon?
I said particularly nasty weather.
I didn't really like that Enoch bloke, you know.
No, nasty type, particularly nasty fella.
Particularly nasty fella, I say. Yeah, very nasty. I'll tell you one thing I always felt very sorry for Jesus about.
Yeah?
That was having his birthday on Christmas Day. You know, so I only got one lot of presents like it.
Yeah. Shame that, really, wasn't it?
Did he have any other problems of any kind, you know?
Well, not that he ever discussed with us, you know. He was a very well-balanced sort of bloke, you know. I think, if anything, he had a bit of a father complex, you know.
Yeah.
a bit overawed by his dad.
Yeah, well, you can understand this, can't you, Matthew? Because it was his old man what done the universe, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
A bit hard to follow that, isn't it?
Top that, mate.
Top that, yeah. Did Jesus ever explain why his father created all those horrible things? Those nasty things like flies and fleas and stinging spiders, snakes and alligators, bubonic plague. I never saw much use for them. It don't seem to do anybody any good.
Yeah, but be fair, it was his first universe. He'd done it all in 7 days.
Yeah, a bit of a rush job.
He must have been hurtling about the place.
Yeah, 7 days for a
7
universe.
days.
Good going, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, marvellous. And you say flies and fleas,
Yeah.
Arthur. But be fair, think of all the successes. Birds and bees, Persian cats,
Yeah.
geraniums,
Yeah.
budgerigars,
Yeah.
lovely, cuddly things like that.
Yeah, a lot
eh?
of nice things about when you come to think of it, yeah.
Yeah, I
Mustn't
think
be
you
on
done-
the gloomy side, must it?
No. Anyway, thank you very much indeed, Arthur, for all your cooperation.
Not at all, been delighted, you know.
Been really nice talking to you. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you a copy of the article when I've finished it.
Oh, that'd be great, because, you know, you get a bit bored up here just abiding in the fields with your flocks, you know.
Of course, you must do, yeah. We're calling it the Gospels, actually.
Oh, it's a good title, that.
I think it's
the Gospel's good title.
Nice and catchy,
Yeah.
you know. I think, in fact, it'll be a better seller than the Old Testament.
Yeah. I think you've got all the ingredients there, haven't you? You know, from what you've told me, it's an unbelievable story.
Oh, yeah. It's
Incredible.
lovely. Yeah. Well, it's got all the stuff in it, isn't it? I mean, you know, adventure, romance, tragedy, happy ending,
Yeah.
you know. It's lovely.
Got the lot.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, I've got to go off and try and get an interview with Pontius Pilate, but I don't know if I will. He's always in the bathroom washing his hands.
I've heard he's been a bit evasive recently.
He has,
Hey,
yeah.
Matthew, before you go, could you tell me one thing? All those miracles, like Mrs. McMyer talked about, like walking on the water,
Yeah.
were they really true, or was that just, you know, publicity?
That's all true.
True?
True, Arthur, yes. In fact, we had an eyewitness to the walking on the water, the late George Griddle. Do you remember him?
George Griddle? Yeah, he used to have a column in the Bethlehem Star, didn't
That's
he?
it, yeah.
Round and about Jerusalem with George Griddle.
Right.
Very good that was, all spicy, you know, tittle-tattle stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
My True Confessions by Salome.
That's it.
You ran that for 52 weeks, didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Terrific stuff. What happened to George?
Well, it's a tragic story, really. Very unfortunate. It might have been Matthew, Mark, Luke, John and George Griddle. But fate decreed otherwise,
Oh,
as she is wont. Anyway, George had been given this assignment, you know, to do 24 hours in the life of Jesus, you
Yeah.
know, and he'd been following him around, you know, during the morning. And he hadn't got very much to report by the end of the morning, you know, just sort of ordinary things like Jesus sits down,
Yeah.
Jesus stands up,
Yeah.
Jesus has a cup of tea,
Yeah.
Jesus calls out to his dog, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Nothing sensational there, is there?
No front page material, Arthur.
Read all about it. Jesus sensation. Jesus sits down. No, you couldn't do that.
No use at all.
Couldn't sell a newspaper. Sensation. Jesus stands up. No, no
It
good.
wouldn't exactly be a grabber, would it?
No, hardly.
Anyway, Jesus eventually come to this lake,
Yeah.
and he was walking towards this lake with the late George Griddle in hot pursuit, as you can see.
Oh, there's George behind him.
That's
yeah.
right, yeah.